folks, and welcome to the preview of the 2016 Midwest Cyclocross Regionals at Angell Park in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Your tour guide for this afternoon for this pre-ride is going to be local Beard Haber and Sun Prairie resident Cale Dorn. This event's being put on by L5 Racing, which is a Verona-based cyclocross and mountain bike team, and so Cale is an honorary member of the L5 Racing family, and he'll be our tour guide for the afternoon. As you can see, the race is going to start with an uphill start that is very wide into a very sweeping right-hand turn. I know my personal opinion is that this is the way that cyclocross races should start, to give folks lots of room to maneuver and work towards the position that they want to be in as you hit the first technical features. So it's going to sweep on a large right-hand turn, and then we're going to head up this first hill. This is going to be, it's a slight incline, so it's obviously a slog, especially with the snow. I'd like to point out that with the snow is that we got some good amount of snow in Sun Prairie over the weekend, and we might be getting more later this week, and we're going to do everything within our power to make sure that it's clear and that, you're not having to slog like it's the sand at Zonhoven or something like that for the entire race. Although I would say with this time of year, we hear a lot about real cyclocross conditions. I would like to say that I think that the snow is real Midwest cyclocross conditions, and it definitely gives you that effect of grinding in the sand. So, c'est la vie, no snow, but we're going to do our best to make sure that the snow is cleared. Coming up on the first of several technical features in this portion of the course, this is going to be an off-camber. You can see all these corners were tough for us with 6 inches of snow. But this is going to be a double off-camber that's very slick. So in dry conditions, it might be easy to ride, but with the snow, definitely very difficult. With the technical features on this course, Travis Gruco, one of our course designers, really wanted features where it really benefits you to ride as opposed to run. And so this is definitely one of those features, especially because if you are forced to run, there's a good chance you're going to get snow in your cleats. And so if you can stay clipped in, you're going to be able to accelerate out of that much, much quicker. As you see, even Cale on his flat pedals had to clear some snow off of his pedals. If you're looking at specific skills to work on for regionals, clearing snow off of your cleats and off of your pedals is definitely a skill that you're going to want to work on. So get out there, get some snow, work on hitting them on the side, hitting them on the top, and clearing that snow out. This portion of the course is going to go not over the river, but it is definitely going through the woods. So this will be where some of the technical features are located. We're coming up on a drop-in, so we're going to drop in 2 tiers and then come back up. Again, one of those sections that's pretty easy or relatively rideable in dry conditions, but with the snow can be a little bit more difficult. So you're going to have to pop up this little 2 or 3 foot rise. It's pretty steep, and I know at one point I definitely fell over and just kind of tipped over into a tree at that section. So not the easiest in the world. This is an off camber that you're going to want to ride high. It gets very slick along the off camber, which is really interesting. One of the challenges that we faced with designing this course, we started working on this course back in November when conditions were dry, it was fast, that off camber didn't really seem like much, but you get some snow on it and all of a sudden it's that much more difficult. So this is the completion of really the first third of the course. The course is divided into 3 parts. That was the beginning, the more technical section. I don't know if it really has a name or not, but you can see that we had a couple really nice technical features that are going to place a premium on bike handling ability. The next portion is probably the most fun portion of the course. It's the Speedway, the Angell Park Speedway. There's actually a racetrack here. And although past versions of the US GP of cyclocross, which was the UCI C1 race that was held at this venue in the past before the Trek CXC Cup, did not necessarily use the Speedway. We saw the Speedway and decided that we definitely need to use it. And I think we have a fun section in store through the couple rip and rides and little drag race on the Speedway. So now we're heading into the Speedway area. The concessions tent on the left will not be open. Looks like they have an ice machine, which we definitely won't need this time of year. No ice machine is necessary this time of year. And so we're going to get into the first of the rip and ride sections. There's a natural embankment, or a man-made embankment, I'm sorry, that they built for the grandstand area. And so this is a very steep uphill that you can see was very difficult to ride with the slick conditions. So you're going to want to power as much as you can heading into that. And like Kale, if you want to stop and have a beverage, have a beer here at the top, or just talk to folks who are hanging out in the grandstand, feel free to do so. The reality is that his fingers were getting cold, so he had to switch his gloves. We were going to put an off camber on the left here on this steep embankment, but not only did it prove unrideable in the snow, it actually was darn near unwalkable, and we don't really want folks sliding to the bottom. So this section at the top will give you the opportunity to clear your cleats and head into our rip and ride. No brakes necessary here. It's a nice clean drop and then pedal up to this side hill section. You can see that this is difficult, a little challenging. You can see my wheel is pointed slightly uphill, and that's kind of what I was forced to do to be able to ride this. There's then an off-camber right-hand turn into another rip and ride. So we think this is a really fun section. Travis Gruco and Kale put a decent amount of work into thinking this out and planning it out. Obviously, we would have liked to have done a little bit more, but with the snow, it's a fine line between what you can do that can be fun and what's not going to be rideable. We're now heading towards the Speedway. So during the summer, the Angell Park Speedway is used for midget car racing. Here today, or this weekend, it'll be more cyclocross racing. I guess if we did BMX bikes, it could be midget bike racing or something like that, or if everyone used 26-inch tire mountain bikes or something like that. But for the time being, it'll be cyclocross bikes. I'd like to say that since we are on a racetrack, that rapping noises will be required. We're hoping to get a USAC official down here to dish out those 30 Swiss franc fines for anyone who does not make rapping noises, because you're on a speedway, and all summer you're brapping on a mountain bike, brapping all fall on a cyclocross bike. So why not get in the mood and make those noises while you're on the speedway? That was, of course, a joke. Brapping noises will not be required, and there will be no 30 Swiss franc fines. This is definitely not a UCI race. Also, if this event does take off, we have great grandstands on the right side. So if we do eventually attract Euro-sized crowds, there'll be a great place to have those folks sit and enjoy the racing. Over on the right is going to be the registration area. It is heated. We're going to have trainers inside. There's an expo area. We have a number of food and beer vendors and some other folks from the community who are going to be out there. So this will be kind of a full regionals experience, and that will be a place for you to stay warm. And with the windows there, maybe you can look over the track from the warmth of the registration area. We're still waiting on our tour guide, Kale. So we're kind of slowly going through this section. And I believe up here, I'm actually going to wait for him so he can show us the first of a couple of run-ups. Yeah, here we go, hanging out. So on the left, you can see the stairs, which are a couple different ways. Smaller stairs, bigger stairs, not sure which we're going to use, will be a run-up. And we have heard that sometimes dismounts on the asphalt can be kind of difficult, so we're going to make sure that this is a safe area. Although if it does have 6 inches of snow, I think the dismount will be fine. Here's Kale. So he's going to carry his nice commuter bike up and over. Maybe we'll just leave the snow embankment at the top that you have to break through before you remount your bike. Then we're going to head through the bleacher section. We made sure that the section we go under is Greg Ferguson Tallest Man in Cyclocross compliant. So unless you're like literally 8 feet tall, I think you'll be able to pass under here comfortably. As Tyler Stein said during the Wisconsin Regionals preview podcast, since we do have riders coming from across the Midwest, and I believe we have some signups from Utah, you might be seeing some racers that you've never seen before. So if you see a cute boy or girl and you want to invite them to meet you underneath the bleachers to make out after your race, we totally support that. and the harkening back to your high school days of making out under the bleachers, because I'm just assuming that's what everyone did in high school. Over on the left, you can see that's definitely an L5 Racing snow removal team snowplow. So that'll be on site. Just kidding. I'm pretty sure that's one that they contract out for Angell Park, but we did talk to them and they did say that they may be able to clear the snow for us. So we're going to do our best to make sure that the snow is cleared. This area here is going to be the VIP team tent area. So I think we're charging $20 for the weekend for a VIP team tent area spot. And so this course will go around the team tent area. It'll be a fun section where folks who are hanging out will be able to see the riders come by a couple times. We're now going to head into the last third of the course. We're going to start with a ripping downhill. So this is on a side hill. Not quite maybe the same as the one at Cross the Isthmus, but this right-hand turn coming up is definitely a tough one. And I can assure you that I have cantilever brakes. They didn't work super well, so you just kind of have to grip it and rip it going down this section. As we work our way through the trees here at the bottom, since we went down the hill, we're obviously going to have to go back up. And one of our goals with this course, I know, again, folks are always talking about the real cyclocross experience. And for those of you who get up early in the morning to watch some of the races from Europe, running is always a key part of the real cyclocross experience. And so there will be a run-up. It's a section that'll come up here shortly that was included with the USGP course, and we're definitely bringing that back for our course here at the Midwest Regionals. This here is a flattish section before the hills. We cut off the hill a little bit because it was proving very difficult to ride in the snow. As you can see, Cale grinding his way up this section. So if there is snow, nothing will be easy on this course. But we're not going to bring it up as high as we had before, but we're going to have a couple side hill sections before we get to the run-up. So that is the first of those side hill sections, and we'll drop down and then work our way along the side hill yet again. And this one's a little bit tougher. It's kind of like that side hill back at the rip and ride section. As you can see, Cale had some trouble, and again likely forced me to put my foot down. I probably got more snow in my cleats. So again, a skill that you're definitely going to want to work on for the Midwest Regionals. The run up is actually going to be ahead of us here, so you can kind of see the length of it. Back in the days of the USGP, they called it the Hillside Strangler. I think we're going to try to find a different name. I feel like that's a little derivative of Chicago area interchanges, although it may make folks from Chicago riding up from Chicago might make them feel a little bit more at home if we had called it the Hillside Strangler. But we're going to look for a different name, I think. In total, I think the run-up is a total of 27 vertical feet, which is not quite the 51 feet of Mount Crumpet. So this is kind of like a half Mount Crumpet. Part of the motivation of putting on this race, as Tyler mentioned during the podcast, was, Jingle Cross got moved to September to accommodate the World Cup, and so there is no big event at the end of the year. So we've got a couple features on this course that pay homage to things that you'd see on the Jingle Cross course. As you can see, Cale is slogging up that hill. It'll be a fun run up. We're going to put a couple barriers at the bottom, and I know with the snowy, slick conditions, it is also very difficult to ride. It's a somewhat steep hill that a lot of kids actually use for sledding. That's why we left it untaped at this point, was to allow kids to still sled on that hill. Or adults if you're into that kind of thing. We definitely support adult sledding as well. So we're now nearing the end of the lap. We've got one more small technical feature, and then we're going to hit the barrier barn, or the barn O barriers, which you can see on the left, which is also located adjacent to the VIP team tent area. So this is one last off-camber little technical feature right before the finish. Could end up making a difference if you are in a 2-up or 3-up battle in your race. I was riding it earlier, clearly botched it that time. Had to put my foot down, probably got more snow in my cleats. So again, there's really going to be a premium on riding stuff cleanly on this course, especially if there is white stuff on the ground. So we're now heading into the barrier barn area. It'll head off to the left along this slight rise. I guess if you're feeling bold and you want to make a move on someone on the right, you can go ahead and do so, although it is pretty steep and I imagine it'll be very slick given the conditions. So we're going to head into the barn. Hopefully we'll have folks on either side watching. We've got some barriers. If you can bunny hop them, you can go for it, especially at the end of a race. We're literally hundreds of meters before the end here, so you could definitely get an advantage as we're going to hang a left onto the pavement into the finishing stretch. You can see Kale ripping here, so we're going to rip down past the team tent area, and we're going to see Kale break through a small snow embankment. Maybe we'll put even a bigger snow embankment just to make it more fun to rip through that. And then it's going to head back onto the finishing stretch into a sprint up to the top of the hill. So thanks for watching. We're looking forward to seeing all you folks out at regionals on Saturday and at the U.S. Midwest Grand Prix of Cyclocross on Sunday.